Coach, college football playoffs have been announced. I'm going to ask you the question everyone's asking. Yeah. Did they get it right?
I'll tell you, for all the controversy, all discussion, and the heartbreak for the Florida State team, and I mean, those players deserve better, but I do. I think it's fantastic matchups. I'm fired up to watch it. It's an imperfect system, but the 13-member committee, they got it right. And I really like the mission statement. You know, the mission statement is very clear: select the best 4 teams. Done, and move on. But they also list the principles, and I agree with every one of them. The number one principle they look for is conference champs. Yes, they picked the 4 conference champs, and by the way, the 4 best conferences in college football. The next one's schedule strength. They also got that right. Washington played 5 top 20s. The Wolverines played 3 top 20s. Texas, 5 top 25s. Alabama, 4. Florida State, they beat LSU, Duke, and Louisville, so they had the weakest of the 5 teams. And then head-to-head, I want to spend a second on this. If they somehow would have put Alabama ahead of Texas, to me, it would blow up the system.
Right.
Every AD, every football coach in America, I'd walk into Gene Smith, if I was still the coach at Ohio State, said, get rid of our non-conference schedule. We're playing the MAC every year.
Sure.
Because it doesn't matter. Head-to-head has to matter. They got that right. And then comparative outcomes, that really didn't matter. But there's also one, and this is where Florida State lost. It says the unavailability of their players. They will take that into consideration. One of the best players in the country, Jordan Travis. I love that player. Horrific injury near the end of the season. With the backup they had in there, it wasn't even close. They were playing Wildcat a good majority of the time, so unavailability of players made a difference.
But you make the point that was the reason Florida State didn't make the playoffs. But weren't you in the same exact situation in 2014, and you did make it? So what's the difference?
Yeah, 2014, if you remember, we were down to our 3rd-string quarterback. Braxton Miller got hurt preseason. J.T. Barrett got hurt in a rivalry game, and a guy named Cardell Jones came in, a 3rd-string quarterback with no experience. And that crossed our mind because I remember we had, at the time, we were number 6. Baylor and TCU were 4 and 5. For us to jump them, we not only had to win, but we had to prove that Cardell Jones was worthy of a quarterback in the Final Four. And the difference is, Florida State had a very close game and kind of a sloppy game against Louisville. Cardell Jones was on fire, and we won 59-0. Very similar situations. I believe if Florida State would have put it to Louisville and the quarterback looked great, I would think they would have got in.
My only issue with the committee, and I do think they got it right, but it's a little bit misleading for me to say they got it right when I would be doing the same thing I'm accusing the committee of doing. I haven't watched all these teams on tape. I just think there needs to be more emphasis on watching the game tape. I think there needs to be more experts watching the game tape. I think the best way to decide the 4 best teams is through studying tape, and that's really not what the committee is doing, and they've really never done that. What role do you think watching the game tape should play?
We'll go back to the mission statement. Pick the best teams. There's only one way to do that, and watch videotapes. So there's 3 coaches. I went back and checked 3 retired coaches on that committee. It takes a long time. When I hear people watch tape, a lot of times, you remember when you got a young player, I'm going to watch tape, and you come in and you sit next to the player. So what are you watching here? Right. Tell me what you're watching. And they're watching the ball, or they're watching. So watching tape is a skill. Evaluation is a skill. Evaluating teams and personnel are skills. So my only suggestion would be have the committee be former people that have experience. So to get on the committee, there's 13. Half of those are close to half. 6 would be mandated to be people that have experience watching tape.
You've seen all 4 of these teams play. Yeah. Tell us about the matchup.
I'm so excited about this. Alabama against the Wolverines, I can't wait to, I might buy a ticket for that one, I don't know. But I think that's strength on strength. Jalen Milroe, the quarterback at Alabama, got benched early in the season. I'm telling you, he is Percy Harvin / Reggie Bush playing quarterback. Arguably the best player, the best athlete in college football, touches the ball every snap for Alabama. The Wolverines, I think they're a tale of a couple teams. They did not play well in that championship game. I'm not taking credit away from Iowa, but this is going to be a big boy football. This is going to be violent, physical game. Both teams are very good on defense. I can't wait for the matchup. On the other side, Texas, I think Texas is the best roster in college football. I said that before the season started. Coach Sarkisian invited us. We did a game. We went to practice. I stood next to these cats. I've had 3 national championship teams. That looks like a national championship football team. Washington with Penix, I love that coach, DeBoer. I just think they're one of the best well-rounded teams in the country. To beat Oregon once and then beat them twice, it's hard to bet against Washington. So I love the matchups. Well, I hope the fans enjoyed this because any one of 8 teams could have won the national championship this year. I really believe the Buckeyes could have. I believe Florida State, if the quarterback didn't get hurt, there's so many good teams out there right now. I think Oregon, I go back to Oregon, like when you watch them play, what happened? But I think for the viewer and the fan, what a year for college football.
Yeah.